Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth was released June 23rd, 2023. That's just about a year ago. And of course, we have Fallout from Universes Beyond that released March 8th of 2024. If you want to know how these products are doing right now, you're not the only one. Before I even start today's video, I gotta start with just a wow. The initial sales for Fallout and for Lord of the Rings were on a different level, and that's something to take note of. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today. A reminder before we start today's video that if you enjoyed today's content, don't forget like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on that notification bell. I put out new content every single day. Whether you like it or not, it's going to be there in case you decide to watch it. So, what are we talking about? Well, Lord of the Rings, June 23rd. The search for the One Ring. Now, I guess, is in the hands of a famous music artist. Okay, he loves magic. It's all good. We got Post Malone. It's fine. Now, I want you to think about that. The search for that ring had everyone going crazy. It was a Willy Wonka type moment in magic. Not only that, the IP, Lord of the Rings, drove sales to new heights because they didn't underpower the cards. They were inventive and creative, unlike the dirty deal that they left us with Dungeons & Dragons Adventures in Forgotten Realms. This was a much better set, a well put together set, but it also commanded a higher price tag. Right now, if you wanted to go ahead and buy a box of the original Lord of the Rings collector box, here in Toronto, it's around $650 Canadian. These things came out at $4.99 to $5.50, so it's actually appreciated in value. It's gone up, and that's something you need to be aware of. But the question really comes down to not just is the price going up, what cards are we talking about? Is there anything good in there? And what kind of cards can we hope to find if you're looking in that box that are actually worth money? And that's where things can get interesting. Let me show you this. Now, other than the unique one-of-one ring, the most expensive card a player can find is the One Ring Showcase Scrolls Edition. If you're lucky enough to find this card, it's going for $172. Now, let's not forget the fact that this card is also found in different editions. You don't have to get this particular version, but this is the most expensive one. And this is where a box, a collector box in particular, can kind of set itself apart from other collector boxes. Yes, there's a massively high price tag attached to this product. But here's the thing. The One Ring, I've seen opened as many as 3 times inside one box. It's a mythic. There are chances of getting different versions of the card, and you can really come out ahead if you happen to hit all 3, and then you've got $300 of your box basically paid for in value. But not only that, the Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth has a lot of cards worth nothing, but there are still lots of cards of mid-value. If you take a look at the Surge foils, if you take a look at Yawgmoth, Tomb of Urborg, and you take a look at the Dead Marshes, you know, the overlay artwork and stuff like that, those are like $80, $90 cards. You can find value in all kinds of ways inside this set. So, although in my opinion it's still a very expensive product, the idea that there is a lot of value inside that box is not something that should be ignored. But that being said, that doesn't mean it's flying off the shelves anymore. This stuff is sitting locally, and it moves about a box a month. If I went across all the stores I had that I talked to and still know about what's going on and still say I've got product, they move about a box a month. And that's a lot better than I expected if you take that on average from a small store to a large store. And then you also take into account things like eBay, private groups that do trading, and of course, taking a look at things like TCG Player. You'd be surprised to see that it moves a few boxes a week. This is a lot of money still moving in the market for this particular product, and that means it's going to have a certain level attached to this card for a long time. If I looked locally and I found it for $650 and it released between $4.99 and $5.50, it has appreciated in value. It has gone up, so you can't ignore those facts. And the cards inside the set, because of the high playability of many of these cards, I mean, the One Ring gets played in so many formats, it's disgusting. And that means players want multiple copies of the card, and that keeps the popularity of the card high, and it keeps box openings happening. It's kind of interesting. But now let's move over and let's talk about Fallout. Now, Fallout came out gangbusters. Great artwork, great flavor and take on what they were trying to represent, backed up by the TV show, which I still haven't watched. And you have a product that players died. They want the Pip-Boy. They were dying to get their hands on the Mana Vault Secret Lair Special Edition. They want to get the Power Armor. They want to get Dog Meat. They want to get in there and get these cards. And not just for playing, but also for collecting. Now, this product is still selling, and it's commanding a very high price as well. Now, the most expensive card, though, that you're going to find in your set, yep, you guessed it, and it would be the Surge Foil Soul Ring Borderless. $224.50. I mean, we're talking some serious money for a Soul Ring, okay? And this is where things can separate themselves. The Soul Ring itself is a replicant. It's been copied so many times, it already exists in so many different likenesses and artwork and creations, its value is not going to hold, unlike the One Ring, and you can see here the price is starting to drop. Whereas the One Ring was a unique creation. And here's the other thing, if you start looking at what's going on in Fallout, cards are dropping in prices. Collector boxes are staying exceedingly high, and the commander decks are still selling, although quite slowly. When you look, though, at the sell-through rate on things like TCG Player and local stores, pardon me, we are also seeing that it still has a fairly good sell-through rate. It is selling multiple boxes a week still, just like Lord of the Rings, but it's a little bit faster because it is a newer product and it's only been out for a couple of months. So what does that mean for this product? Chances are the popularity of something like this being Fallout is going to keep the product a certain level. It's going to keep it kind of high. But because of the unique cards that we are finding inside of the set like Lord of the Rings, the playability rate of that will probably carry it a lot longer than something like Fallout, which means if we take a look at this as a whole macroeconomic thing, you're likely to see the Fallout cards get pretty cheap for the singles over time, next 6-7 months. The box prices will wane off but not drop. You just see the sales will decrease, and the players who have these boxes are not going to sell anymore, and they don't want to reduce the price that much. There's a possible Christmas sale or a Boxing Day sale, Cyber Monday type thing that may come through to get a few of those units out the door. If they knock off 50, 60 bucks, it will attract a few buyers. Same for Lord of the Rings. You're going to see it sell for a long time, but it's going to sell slow. And unlike other collector boxes, it's actually going to carry on. And this is where Wizards of the Coast is going to find success with higher box prices. You need to be aware of this because this means next time you see a pre-order pricing at $4.99 or $3.99, it might be the time to buy, where before it may not have been because you knew we could get a good deal on it. It looks like that's not going to be the case based on what I see so far, and a year out of Lord of the Rings, and the fact it's still selling at those prices tells me that there is a certain level of interest that is not waning, and players are still accumulating and still cracking and opening. Can't be ignored. The facts are right there when you look at them. So take that in hand. Understand the climate you're working in if you're looking at getting one of these boxes, and they are doing surprisingly better than I thought they would be. And you know what the takeaway is? If Wizards of the Coast builds a really good product, takes a good IP and puts some good work into it, they will succeed. And that can't be something you just drop off the bus and say it didn't happen. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen again if they play their cards right. But chances are they'll mess up at some point. We're late in the video, right? Chances are Wizards will mess up somewhere. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Let me know what you guys think. Drop some comments in the comment section. Thanks again for watching the video today. Look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Have a great one. What are we doing here still? This is like the end of the video. Isn't it over yet? These are the names kind of flying. Wait a second. Recap. These are the amazing patrons of this channel. Because of the patrons, we get to make daily uploaded content. Because of their support, we get to make videos every day about the thing we love, which is Magic the Gathering. So thanks again for being supporters. I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. Have a great one. Where are we at here? We're here at the end of the video. And I gotta be honest, I can't tell you how surprised I was to see how much those products are still selling. The Fallout is not as much a surprise, just because of the fact that that product is still fairly new. It came out March. April, May, and June, so it's been a few months, right? 12 weeks, 13 weeks. But when you take a look at Lord of the Rings, a year in, when Chris Cox talked about Evergreen, I don't think he was exactly wrong. Now, it doesn't mean that they're making any more money, but LGSs and distribution who are still putting the product out and still selling it off their shelves are still banking a few bucks here and there, and the product's climbed to a certain level that it's kind of a prestigious thing to own if you have a box of it. I kind I can kind of get behind that, right? That moment in time where you really love a product. And for somebody who's been around a long time, my favorite set may have been Antiquities. My favorite set, it's Antiquities. But for some new person coming up, it might have been Lord of the Rings. And unlike me, who doesn't have a box of Antiquities, I don't even have a booster pack of Antiquities, they get the chance to own the first set they ever played and fell in love with, which could have been Lord of the Rings or Fallout. Crazy to think about, but that's how it happens. We're just putting 30 years between us. Crazy stuff. I love it. I like the idea of it happening, and I'm glad that some other Magic player may fall in love just as much as we did. That's just epic. So thanks again, guys. Thanks for being here. Listen to the Ramble Jamble, and we'll see you guys soon. Ramble Jamble!